We got a special guest coming in today, Filip Forsberg. He's in town for NHL All-Star Game, and we're going to take him on a trip down memory lane. Hopefully he has a great time visiting us here at an archive. Hi, Filip. Welcome.
How you
Welcome
doing?
to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Thank
This
you
is
so
our
much.
Research Center and Archives. So when we get an artifact, this is where it starts.
Awesome.
This is our artifact holding area. We've got all kinds of new stuff. I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Bobby Orr.
A couple times.
So it wasn't that long ago. He phoned our curator, Phil Pritchard, and said, "Hey, I'm moving. I want you to come down to my basement, take whatever you want." So he gave us all this, just bins of stuff. There's photos, there's plaques, there's magazines,
There's worse guys that can call you up and offer that.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Sure.
That's the thing. Bobby Orr calls you up and says, "Hey, come to my basement." You go. Then we have an archivist write it all up, document all the details about it, and then it goes out into our archive. So we just sort of follow me this way.
Perfect.
Welcome to the archive.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So this is our stick wall. On this side is North American. On the back side is the rest of the world. There's a few interesting sticks here that you might want to take a look at. So a guy named Bobby Hull, he was one of the first guys to use a curve. And look at that. You guys are using much taller sticks now, and obviously
That's crazy.
they're much more high tech than they ever used to be. But that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
huh?
that's wild.
So put that back. So we've got everything here,
Just got
his
his
teams,
own.
and then we've got Gretzky right here.
Understandable.
Yeah, not bad. So we've got all the significant milestones. The one thing that's really kind of interesting is that bundle up there, that's the way he used to send them back to his dad from Edmonton. He would have the
I
equipment
see.
guys pack them up. So those stick bundles, I don't know if they came monthly or weekly, but that's how they would come.
Yeah, he did probably break a record every other game. So that was-
And then you get down into some of these older ones, and you take a look down here.
it looks like my street hockey sticks.
Yeah, exactly. From
Just
the day-
shaved
from
down.
back in the day, huh? So there's one of the older sticks that we've had, an old goalie stick.
Wow. Yeah, that thing is cool.
I mean, that's back to the early 1900s.
Yeah, take this before I
Yeah, I know.
accidentally break it.
Well, that's nice that you're careful with it. So this is our international section. This is all men's Olympics. I'm sure you recognize those
Yeah,
colors.
that's what I'm most interested
I
in.
mean, look at some of the players we've got here. Nicholas Sundstrom, another
Yeah.
great Swedish player. Who else have we got here?
Boy, Johan Hedberg.
Yeah.
We're neighbors back home.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, that's right.
Same town at all?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, he
awesome.
grew up with, went to school with my mom and everybody.
No
and,
way.
Yeah, now we have a property right on the lake and he's right next door neighbor. So.
What
Lexand.
Lexan, okay. Any other
Yeah,
guys
that's
from Lexan?
I mean, there's a bunch of guys
Yeah.
that are like, you go way back, and then like we have Victor Rask, Ekman Larsson, both
Yeah.
of them played that. Those are the most recent. Jacob De La Rose had a little
Right.
quick stint in the NHL too. So there's been a few guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So over here, you want to take a look at those?
I was gonna say.
Take a look at those a second.
Look familiar, yeah. Yeah, I wore them during the World Championship,
Yeah,
which was
World
cool.
Championship.
So we ended up winning it in Copenhagen. So I scored the shootout winner, which is cool. So if I can contribute to a little bit of history, that's
Hey, you know
that's
what?
about it.
It's
so that's
all
good.
a part of history. Yeah, everything we get is
At
a
least
part
that's
of history.
awesome.
Yeah, so we pulled out an older pair here too. So take a look at what they used to wear. Like equipment's changed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, huh? I don't know how you even did anything with those.
What I
things.
find
That's
amazing
impressive.
is, and I guess it's fairly new, is there's sort of the wrist roll here, and now the glove still has the wrist roll, but it's got the added piece
Yeah,
on
they
there,
put that
too.
on because we had,
Yeah.
I think, 4 or 5 guys break their hands
Yeah,
in
well,
one
that's what I
season.
was
So our
saying,
equipment
yeah.
guys, like,
Exactly.
enough with that.
It's a great idea. So gloves are just coming like that
Yeah.
now, and that's one neat thing about here is the evolution of the
Yo,
equipment.
I could only
It
imagine.
is
Like we saw the
amazing to
sticks,
see.
obviously, and then
Yep. One more little something here. You know that guy as well. And I'm sure you remember that very well too. 1998 Winter Olympic Games.
yeah, I was a little young for that one, but
Yeah.
I remember the 2002 one a lot better. Sadly,
Yeah.
'cause that was tough.
But oh no.
That was real tough.
Just quickly, if you want to know what we're passing by on this side, this is books, written material, biographies, media guides, league media
Yeah.
guides. It's everything we have. You read that one?
Yeah, I did have that
Awesome.
one. I read it when I was a kid growing up. Not necessarily like his own biography, but it's like basically like an early biography about him.
Yeah.
And said he was
Man.
my idol growing up.
He was, huh?
Oh yeah.
How often do people ask you if you're related?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. It was when I first came drafted, it was like the #1 question for everyone. And then some people still called me Peter on like accident, which there's worse things to be called. So
Yeah, no
we
kidding.
can limit that. This is crazy. It's massive, and there's so many cool things. Like even like open beer cans, you know. There's nothing you can't find in here. This is cool. Really cool. Really cool.
Around the corner here, it's a prep and a preservation area. So when we get a new artifact goes immediately into a freezer.
Anything? Doesn't matter what it is?
Textile.
Oh,
Textile, we
okay,
can't
that
put
makes sense.
sticks and that kind
Yeah,
of thing
that's
in
what I
there.
figured.
You know, leather, foam, so gloves and everything go in there. But I thought I'd stop here. You might know this guy.
Yeah, I just saw those. He just wore those the other day.
Yeah, exactly. It was just in.
He had to put 100% safe
Okay, so here's the funny story about this. So I was in the dressing room. It was actually the Lanny McDonald. And I said, Lanny, we got to get those pads. He's got the Hall of Fame logo on them. He had them made up for one game.
Yeah.
So he went over and he said to Hank, he was like, we'd love to have your pads. And he was like, oh, cool, well, I'll sign them for you. I said, actually, if you don't mind, when we get artifacts, we want them right off of you guys. And we want it exactly the way it was that you had it. So Hank says to me, he says, yeah, but I really wanted to write my save percentage down there because so I said, you know what, go ahead and do it. So if you look closely there, Legends gave him Hall of Fame 2023 save percentage of 100%.
Yeah, he's a competitive guy. It doesn't matter what it is.
He's so
that's,
competitive. But he was just thrilled that he had the save percentage at 100. We got minis of the NHL trophies. We're fortunate enough to acquire a set of these. So any player that wins one of these, it's mini.
Yeah, I have that President's Trophy one.
yeah, you
We
have
have
the President's Trophy.
we have
For sure.
one more, the Losers Trophy.
No,
Semi-
come on now.
that one's
That's
not-
still pretty cool.
Oh, that one is still awesome, but the Clarence Campbell,
So one of the things that's really neat
that's the
is,
Losers Trophy.
is all the honored members have a portrait on of them. And these are the originals and one of my favorites ever. What a guy. And I don't remember the player, but one of our fellows was over in Sweden with the cup. And they were just on a bus through downtown and they saw Borja.
Yeah.
And like he was just walking
Yeah.
around, and every player started, the king, the king, the king! So they all stopped, they all jumped off the bus, they all got photos with the cup and Solming. I think they were happier to have the picture with Solming.
I was going to say,
than they were with
yeah,
the
whoever
cup.
they were playing. So
Because everybody was thrilled, and it's too bad he didn't win a cup, but did he ever carve a path for you
yeah,
guys?
no, it was
It's,
incredible. He kind of set the pace for all of us to be here. Like, without him, there's probably none of us.
Borja Solming, inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in the player category.
Again, we stop here. This is Gretzky for you.
Understandable.
The very first trophy that Wayne ever won, called the Wally Bauer Trophy. You talk about carving a path. That's that trophy. Certainly
Give you the
went a
taste
long,
right there.
long
Most
way.
improved.
Long way. And I'll show you something. It's actually something that I think is cool in our collection. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an old softy, but there you go. It's first pair of skates.
Yeah, I was just going to say those.
Look what those skates led to.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. There's a little bit of a connection for you.
Yeah, I actually, the Jofa factory, the original factory's it's like 45 minutes from my hometown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a couple of little plastic bands there, some foam in the back here. Not a whole heck of a lot to it. Crazy light. I mean, did you ever have one of these Jofas as a kid?
No, I had Jofas, but not these. Yeah, like I had sticks and everything before they turned to Reebok, who then
Right.
turned to CZM.
Right,
So
yeah,
it's all like, yeah, this is crazy. Let's see the
And-
Preds if there's anything cool here. We're gonna keep adding to it, but
Yeah, please
let's
do.
see. I'll come back in 20 years and see if we did anything different.
Well, how about an All-Star jerseys this weekend?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Trust me, we'll be looking for stuff. So like I said, it's a little bit smaller, but we've got banners from your championship, Rene's retirement. We got some of your older colleagues here, Francis Bouillon. So this is really, sort of earlier days of the Preds.
Bouillon actually played for Lexan during the lockout, so
Oh,
I
yeah?
watched him
Okay.
play for my hometown team, which was awesome. Yeah, he was unbelievable.
So last night, I heard you had the best mustache in the NHL.
That's what they say, yeah.
I heard that Austin's a little jealous of you.
He has the best mustache in the NHL. I quite envy it. From the Nashville Predators, Philip Forsberg.
But I'm afraid that guy right there.
Oh yeah, we're.
Is that what you all aspire to?
I don't know if I could live with that. That would be hard to maintain.
Yeah, look at that.
That's crazy.
It was Stan Mikita that started first with these. He was an old Chicago Blackhawk player. And then,
That looks better than the Gretzky one almost. That one looks a little more like safe at least. We should
well,
be
it
earlier,
certainly is
right?
more safer,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And you take a look inside there, certainly is. There's.
Oh, maybe.
Look at that. That's almost like
Is there
skate
wood
lace.
in there?
No. There would have been a bit more foam in there.
Yeah.
Back in the day, so that would have been the dried up glue.
Oh, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, just take a look inside there. Here's kind
That's
of a
it.
funny little thing. Well, when Lanny was a man, Lanny's here, they passed out those to everybody. So that was sitting as a greeting at your
It's
table.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Would you like to see Nashville do a Philip Forsberg?
Yeah. There you
We're
go.
gonna have to earn it first, but yeah, that'd be awesome.
There you go.
Maybe in 20 years, like I said, I'll come back and do a retirement night or something. Maybe I still have the mustache. Who knows?
Philip, I'm going to take my glove off here and thank you very
Thank you
much
so
for coming
much.
to join us. It was great for you to come out.
Well, thank you so much. This place is special.
No,
Appreciate
I'm
that,
glad.
so.
I'm glad you're able to come by.
Of course.
All the old equipment that they've been able to preserve is pretty special. Some like even Gretzky's first pair of skates, like that's nuts that they have that here. And it's cool seeing everything, how equipment has changed.
Can you imagine playing with that on your leg?
I definitely don't need to get slowed down at all.
Some of the stuff is from the 50s and now we're, 70 years later. And similar ideas, but obviously a lot smaller, a lot lighter. So I think the old equipment has been the coolest part.